Hi, guys, and thank you for joining me for this special Capture the Flag episode. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Like I said, it's first time with the group, so I'm looking forward to it. To start, it'd be good to kind of get little introductions from all of you. Kind of be good to get a bit of a background. Jan, you want to kick us off, and then we'll get through everybody.
Sure thing. Jan de Vries, been with Mendix for over 10 years. I'm the community manager there, and I run a team of awesome community specialists. And together we organize events like Capture the Flag to help Mendix developers be more successful.
Yeah, I'm René van Hofwegen, working with and for and at Mendix for 15 years. Now started at Mendix, now running the Low Code Academy, where we collaborate with Mendix on providing trainings. And together with Mendix, we're now organizing the CTF as well.
I'm Mitchel Mol, I'm CTO of Blue Green Solutions. Been developing software for the past 18 years, and 14 of those have been with Mendix. Last year I was a participant of CTF. We got to 5th place, and this year I'm one of the co-organizers together with the rest of this wonderful team.
Right. My name is Dirk van Veen. I'm founder at the S Unit. We are not a Mendix company. We are a penetration testing company. We do security. So we do a lot of Mendix application breaking, a lot of other web application breaking. And we are the original creators of the CTF a long time ago. And now still organizing.
Amazing. I feel like saying to people, if they want to hear all your stories other than Dirk, they can go listen to your one-on-one episode later on, right? Talking about, obviously this is all about Capture the Flag. Can we kind of, start with, for those who are not aware about it, what is Capture the Flag?
Sure. Yeah. So as Dirk mentioned, many years ago, we collaborated on an event that we called Capture the Flag. I think this is 5 or 6 years ago now. And the focus is simple. It's to help people learn more about security. And we do that by testing people's security skills, by letting them hack into certain applications that we've prepared on our side to teach them how to find vulnerabilities, but also how do you prevent those vulnerabilities. So the focus is all about learning about security.
And, when did the kind of, obviously it's about security, but, the idea behind it, collaborating, with Dirk, what was the kind of reason, the main reason of kind of, Mendix getting on board, organizing it? You've got obviously multiple companies involved, in this Capture the Flag. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. We started really small with just 40 people here in the Mendix office. And it was more of like, I guess, a training afternoon or a training day. And that then the response was so good, so big that the next year we had 150 people join us, including people remotely. And then we thought, hey, it looks like there's something to this. So then we said, let's level it up. And then I believe the next year we had over 500 people. And then, yeah, that's when it really took off. And last year, 700 people. And that's also when we started saying, okay, we're now growing so big, we're going to need extra help to make this happen, both on, of course, budgeting side, but also on expertise and skills that we need. And so we teamed up last year with Low Code Academy, but also with another Mendix partner, Cobion. And this year, basically, Blue Green Solutions has replaced Cobion for that spot. So yeah, together with 4 organizations, we're all taking a different angle to this.
Yeah. And then René, from your side, what was your interest? You've obviously decided to collaborate and be involved. What was the kind of, reasoning behind that?
It started 1.5 years, or even more ago, when from a Low Code Academy perspective, we already collaborated with the S Unit on workshops. There were some challenges with the CTF, or they wanted to expand. So there was a need for addition. Knowing Jan, collaborating with the community, collaborating with the S Unit, it wasn't a no-brainer to step in. Cobion joined that as well. From Low Code Academy, we are really focused on training people, making them better, making them aware of anything within the low code space and the Mendix space. And this is a very specific topic, is everybody to find it important, but doing it in the right way is a different ballgame. And now I look into to Dirk. He knows that penetration tests on applications, and especially Mendix applications in this case, you'll discover special things which are obvious, but also the non-obvious things. And developers, they understand it, but being able to do something with it is something different. So from that angle, joining the organization of CTF last year was a no-brainer. This year, same.
Yeah. And Dirk, you mentioned you're not Mendix, right? But what was kind of key for you in this collaboration? Why is it important for S Unit?
So with the S Unit, we've been doing CTFs as a concept for quite some time. So the core concept of a CTF is basically doing a hacking competition to raise awareness about different types of vulnerabilities. What we noticed is that there was a large group of Mendix developers in our customer base that really needed more experience with security, that were attributing all kinds of magic to the Mendix platform that didn't exist. They just trusted everything blindly, completely disregarding their own responsibilities. And we want to use our experience with Capture the Flags to also create such a awareness within our Mendix customer base. And we thought, okay, if we're going to organize this and we want to touch the Mendix developer base, who better to contact than Mendix themselves? So that's why we initially came into contact with Mendix, and from there it grew.
Amazing. Mitchel, you said you were a participant last year. Now organizer. What was the drive behind kind of getting involved?
Well, it was a difficult decision because I know Jan asked and was like, "Well, we want to make it bigger than this year. We want to expand. We are looking for more partners." And we know Cobion has signed off and doesn't want to continue because they got all out of it what they wanted. And I was like, yeah, I do want to help organize. We only got to 5th. Can we still hack then? Well, that was certainly a no. But given that we've always tried to profile ourselves as the Mendix experts, and security obviously is a major part in that, and we do think we share that vision with Dirk that, well, low code is nice, but you do have responsibilities, and you do need to ensure that what you're building is actually also safe and secure as well. And learning that in a fun and entertaining way, while also getting a bunch of, well, essentially free additional knowledge that you might not get when you're just busy grinding, building that next app. Well, we found that important enough to say, okay, we do want to support this event, and we think we can also help build challenges and also help with workshops and with coaching, showing off that we are indeed those experts that know more than just building an app, but also know about how to build that securely and effectively. And what better way than to be part of the organization? So yes, sad not to be hacking and try another attempt at getting on the podium, but definitely has been a very fun ride building the challenges as well and seeing it from the other side of the fence.
And yeah, and you mentioned obviously year on year there's been more people attending, and now obviously having partners helps that evolve. What's the strength you feel these companies offer to Capture the Flag?
Yeah, it's really interesting because we were thinking about how do we make it bigger? Well, an obvious one is like just have a bigger space, right? Then we need more people cramped in the same space. But the question is, how do we make it as effective as possible? Not just for people who are in Rotterdam or the Netherlands or in Europe, but around the world. And that's where the strength of our customers and partners come in. We have experts all around the world, and we want to bring them together wherever they are. And so they're not just participating. We also have a lot of customers and partners who are actually hosting a satellite location around the world, from Tokyo to Cape Town to Montreal and Sydney. And I think that's really a strength because they can show that they are an important player in the Mendix ecosystem, in the low-code space, and they have the expertise to prove it. So they can welcome people to their office and show them, this is who we are, and this is what we think is important. Security is a top priority.
And for people who are new to Capture the Flag or haven't signed up yet, what's in it for them? What's in it for them, and what can they get out of it?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that it is 2 days of free learning about security in Mendix specifically, but you're meeting also the rest of the community. You have access to security experts, both from people inside our own community, but also from other companies like the S Unit. So they will be available throughout the event to answer any of your questions. And so, yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. If you want to ask your boss for 2 days of learning, then usually you have to pay hundreds and hundreds every day to go on a training. But now you have not only access to all the content, but also to all hundreds and hundreds of other people who can help you boost your experience and your knowledge.
I think it's also just a nice, you obviously Mendix have meetups all over the world, right? And they're very kind of regular, and I've seen all of you kind of active in them. And it's just another reason for get everyone together and do something really fun. Obviously there's the learning aspect of it as well, but these days, I think we're all sitting at home, but other than you, maybe, Jan, you're in the office, but that human touch, even outside of your office with the rest of the community is great.
I think so too. And of course, next to hacking challenges and workshops, we also do fun stuff. So we have a couple of gaming tournaments planned, not just in Rotterdam on site, but also some international connected to each other online.
Nice.
There's a lot of ways to spend the 2 days, and there is no pressure to do anything. So if you want to take a break and want to play some Mario Kart, you can do that. Or if you want to talk to an expert or the Mendix CEO, you can do that as well.
Depends a little bit on what your personal goals are, which selections you will make.
Exactly.
Put me in the Mario Kart, and I will definitely not finish at all. So better not for me, for example. But and I want to add as well, the hacking itself is learning as well. It is not only doing the workshops where you will learn, but by hacking, by finding your way through it and then discovering, oh, I can do this, I can do that. You will learn a lot how a hacker will think. And if you know how a hacker is thinking, then you will engineer backwards engineering on how you should model your applications. And additionally to that as well, a low-code platform was already mentioned. The benefit of Mendix on low-code platform is that if you have a little bit analytical skills, you can definitely build your own app. That's also a drawback, because if you have that kind of skills, you can build an app. It's not necessarily secure because you lack that knowledge, you lack that way of thinking. I think this is a perfect event to make people aware of, okay, what I am actually doing, and making that thinking step towards making secure apps instead of only business working awesome apps, which is good, but security goes beyond.
Yeah, and often when people hear about the Capture the Flag, they're like, oh, security and hacking. They might be a little bit intimidated, like, oh, I need to be like a script kiddie or whatever it is to, but you don't have to be at all. As long as you have maybe some hands-on experience with Mendix, maybe 6 months or so, and we have a lot of challenges at different difficulties. So even if you're new to Mendix, you can still, beat maybe 5 challenges, maybe 6, maybe 8, maybe not all 20, but it does ramp up.
Yeah.
So I remember, I think so far, every year there has been at least one challenge that was not solved. So that's also, even for the absolute experts who've been working with it like Mitchel for 14 years, there are still challenges there.
Yeah, to be fair, as you grow in the challenges, as you move up into difficulty, and I believe last year they were called the magic category, the script kiddie part, and then a lot more definitely will be useful when you want to try to resolve those. Even Dirk had a little bit of trouble last year explaining that one unresolved one during the live demo, and he actually already exploited it beforehand. So
it's interesting. And you spoke about the locations, and some of the locations, but for anyone who wants to get involved, either can you touch on any way people can get involved other than in person? You mentioned other ways as well.
For sure, yeah. So, of course, in person is a great experience, but everything is available online as well. So as long as you have an internet connection, you can join the event. We have an event app. We've got the scoreboard app with the challenges and the leaderboard. We've got a Slack community where people can chat with each other. They can find maybe some team members. And something that we have upgraded for this year is that we're going to have live streams from all the locations for the 2 days, just so that people feel more connected with each other. And you can wave to, I don't know, maybe Prague or something, or Brazil. So yeah, we're really leveling that up, and we're very open to that feedback. And last year we've received more than 200 feedback items from people in the survey. We went through that in meticulous detail to find out how can we improve it. So if anyone's out there wondering, we don't listen to my feedback, we do. We definitely do. We read all your feedback.
And, obviously it's focused around security, and some people might say, well, shouldn't the platform take care of that for me, being low code, So why should this matter to developers?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. So there's platform security and there's app security. And the platform security is what's all certified. So that's the Mendix platform itself. So we have all the necessary certifications. We have an internal security team who makes sure that the platform is safe. Now, if you're building apps with Mendix, you can accidentally model mistakes or security flaws into an app. And that's where it's really important. So while the low-code platform itself is safe and ready to use, it's really important to put security first because it is very quick to build an app, but you can also very quickly build an unsafe app. So we're trying to teach people best practices and thinking about security first.
If I can add on that, so any platform that is powerful enough to make arbitrary applications allows you to make arbitrary mistakes. And it doesn't matter if a platform offers you best practices or tools or all kinds of things to make your app secure. If you as a developer are not aware of the reason behind those best practices, the reason behind those tools, you will not see the harm in deviating from those best practices, deviating from those tools, doing your own thing and accidentally creating a new security vulnerability. That's something we see quite a lot.
And, obviously being a hackathon, and René, you spoke about it earlier, people are hacking, right? Is there a fear that you're actually, teaching them how to hack into Mendix rather than, being secure?
Yeah, but that's something what you want. Because if you know how an application can be hacked, then from a development perspective, you learn how to prevent it, or at least you have a gist on how to prevent it, because there's also a world behind it. But there are also workshops focusing on that. Hacking knowledge, you can do good and you can do the bad stuff with it. The first assumption is to see the good in the people and also the good in the developers. From that perspective, is a good thing to teach them that.
If I can add to that, I like to compare teaching these skills like teaching how to do a health checkup. If you have a medical checkup, it's not the medical checkup that makes somebody ill or not. Sure, the medical checkup, it may be uncomfortable. The doctor will prod you somewhere, it will hurt. But the reason that it hurts is because there's something wrong with you, and you actually want to know that. So teaching more people how to do their medical checkups, it doesn't make the patients more sick. It just gives more awareness about the health of your ecosystem, about the health of your application, and it gives you a reason to actually start improving it.
It's all about awareness, right? So if you wouldn't teach them these kind of skills, they wouldn't even be aware of the possibilities that others that might do have these skills and malicious intent will abuse. So again, being aware of this, being able to check your application yourself for vulnerabilities, and then, well, maybe you start hacking your competitor's app and get jailed at some point. That's your responsibility, right? And if your competitor didn't join CTF, then it's also their responsibility to take and get hacked.
That's a good sales pitch.
It's kind of similar with the Citrix DevTools that was released a couple of years back, where all of a sudden everyone could find some vulnerabilities in any Mendix app online. And are you then saying, okay, we shouldn't release this because then people with malicious intent will be able to abuse it? Or yes, we should release it because awareness and everybody that has the right intentions can also see and validate whether something is wrong. I mean, it's the same reason why we can still use knives. People with wrong intent will abuse them, and people with the right intent will make some really nice cooking.
Yeah, I also think hiding things doesn't make the problem go away. Just because you deny it, it's like security. I say that security by visibility is not security.
Security through obscurity.
Security through obscurity, yeah, it's not secure. Yeah, so I totally agree with that. We should make everyone aware of it. We're not going to teach people how to hack into other companies' applications, but how to recognize when there are potential vulnerabilities and then focus on how to prevent them specifically.
It relates also to the question I ask when I'm in training and start talking about security. I start with the question is, why do we have security in the first place? And too often I get the answer on providing the right functionality to the right person. And it sounds correct, but it isn't, because there's a nice result of security. It is about keeping people with bad intent outside. So you're not going to configure your security for the normal users. You're configuring for those who are not the user and who want to misuse everything of the application. And it is a mind shift. And this CTF contributes to that as well, to have that mind shift and understand what's happening in the mind of people you are not representing.
I'm interested to know, Mitchell, for you, because obviously you're delivering projects at Blue Green, you're hiring managers, so you're interviewing people all the time as well. Just in developers in general, do you feel that even security is important for them, or it's still like you mentioned awareness, right? Is it something that still needs a lot of focus? Because obviously people, they're very interested in building apps and speed and all that, but when you're having these conversations, are people kind of mentioning it themselves, or is it more kind of you having to bring it up?
Well, it's definitely not in the top 3 list per se. I mean, UI, UX, maybe a little bit of testing, performance, those are often key focus points because, again, they do make a lot of assumptions about that the platform is really secure and takes care of a lot of things. But if you then tell them, well, if you don't set your entity access correct, then I can just take all your data right from the client API. The what now? Which is a funny conversation because, well, again, that's a little bit more into high code level, but still everything is documented. Mendix has documented it really well with the upcoming code assistance from AIs. It's even more easier to create scripts to potentially hack a Mendix system through that. You don't need to be a Dirk level hacker anymore per se, especially if you make basic mistakes on the development side. But what I do find interesting is that with more and more customers in the field, I keep hearing, yeah, we did the S-unit training and we are aware and they give the right answer. So, I mean, all of these past year CTFs and S-units organizing that and alongside that, giving the training and also the training that Low Code Academy is giving is definitely helping. So awareness is growing, and an event like this just puts the spotlight on it, that it is as important as many of the other aspects that I just mentioned.
And Derek, Mitchell mentioned, obviously, he's speaking to customers who have gone through S-unit training. Are you finding more and more customers, this is a real important topic and the thing they want to kind of at the forefront of when they're kind of going through, Mendix development?
Well, we don't really see the forefront of application development often. Frequently, we are added to a project when it reaches a certain level of maturity. It approaches a certain release date. What we do see is that there is a strongly growing interest in security, and that maybe because of the CTF, we don't know, but there's a lot of people asking questions, not just is Mendix as a platform secure, but is my application secure? Did I make a mistake? What actually can anonymous attacker do? What can an authenticated user do? So we do see a strong growing awareness there. And I hope that we added to that.
And, Jan, you mentioned obviously, about, even, there's things for kind of all levels of developers to do at the hackathon. And some might be intimidated by the hardcore devs who, kind of really into it. So, and I guess for juniors, it's also, even if there's not everything they can do, it's a learning experience, right? Would you say as part of their own career development, it's actually quite important?
I think it's actually really essential that you learn about this. So I recommend beginners team up with people who are more skilled, more advanced, and more experienced, because they can really guide you and give you so many insights into maybe like even 1 year of more Mendix experience gives you so much more insight and context on where to look, how to look for stuff, and how to find stuff. So I think if you forget about security, I think you're making a mistake. So security should absolutely be top of mind whenever you want to do anything in Mendix. And also because we're also always talking about AI that's developing so fast, but that also means that has a disproportional effect on security as well. Right? Because using all these tools means it's much easier for people to find vulnerabilities, to get support from all kinds of AI models, to find new ways of hacking into stuff. We saw that last year, that people were using AI to try and find solutions for challenges. They obviously didn't get the exact answers, but for many users, it did help them get closer to the answer. And that's only going to increase. So there's never a reason not to update yourself about security. So even if you've done this now, if this is the 4th or 5th time you're doing this, it's going to be different every single time. It's going to be useful every single time. Of course, when you're doing it for the first time or for the 5th time, the usefulness, it's not going to be 100% increase every year, but you do need to stay up to date, like any sort of certification that you do.
If we look specifically at the CTF, what is really nice about the CTF is we try to create it as a learning experience. So we have coaches running around, and these coaches, they will help you if you are stuck, where we have some guidelines saying, okay, if a challenge has been solved a lot of times, well, apparently it's an easy challenge. So if you get questions about the challenge, it won't affect the score too much if you give them more hints, if you guide their process a little bit. So what we see throughout the years is that a lot of people that come to the CTF with very little experience with hacking, little experience with JavaScript, little experience with the mindset, that just because they keep asking the coaches questions, they get guided, they grow really, really fast. And we try to enable that. So if you think, I would like to start expanding my knowledge on security, but I'm missing some guidance, this is a very good place to find such guidance.
Like we mentioned before, we did listen to the feedback we got last year. And one of the feedbacks from the remote participants was that there was not enough guidance. Now that we're doing it in multiple time zones, that's obviously an even bigger challenge. But like we said, we prepared better. The coaches are better prepared this time around. There will be more coaching possibilities available online as well. There's more workshops available to learn from on how to do the hacking, but also anything that's related to security and Mendix applications, even a little bit of AI sprinkled on top of that. So reach out to the coaches. They are there to help, and they are going to give you guidance. Unless nobody has resolved this super magic challenge yet, then you're still on your own.
And Mitchell, because you said you're a participant last year, right? You know, what was it for your team during and after the event? Like, you know, obviously a participant is different to an organizer. What was the kind of, how did you, you know, we're obviously telling people to come learn, you know, join in the community. What was the experience for your team, and how did you see that impact of Capture the Flag?
Yeah, so colleagues of mine had already tuned in remotely in 2023, but that was mostly, I looked at some of the workshops and some of the streams, and I didn't really got into hacking because on my own, that's not that fun. So definitely if you are remote, find a team. It's way more interesting and fun when you're doing it together. But we were with a team that had both very experienced developers, also a little bit of high code experience, and developers that had no high code experience at all, and maybe were a little bit more junior on the Mendix side even. And like Jan and Dirk explained before, everybody could participate. Everybody found solutions. Everybody hacked the challenges, but also working together, and a little bit of social engineering left and right towards other teams, what they might have solved, which is also part of the yeah, exactly, part of the deal. But it's what more of my junior colleagues also learned from a lot was the workshops. They attended more of the workshops than I did personally. Well, I listened while I was trying to hack, but it's both looking at it from a different mindset, learning, mingling with the rest of the community, because some of these folks I've never seen at meetups at all, that now all of a sudden doing this particular event. And also during the social events around it, because we had a Mario Kart tournament and we had a ping pong tournament, etc. There is more than just the hacking. There's more than just the security. It's also showing that the Mendix community is a very nice community to be in, and that you can learn from each other, because the social engineering wasn't just asking, but also helping. At some point when we were at day 2, you saw people helping as sort of coaches on challenges they solved towards other teams, because in the end, it's about the learning experience. And if more people solve a challenge, then they have more fun and they learn more.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, obviously, you know, Capture the Flag is about winning flags, you know, so I'm interested to know from each of you one insider tip for people to win more flags, starting with you, René.
Of course, normally in life you should aim high, but maybe start aiming low in this case. Don't try to solve the most complex one. You have to build up a little bit of experience. In the end, these Capture the Flag challenges they're all the same but different. And there isn't kind of a thought pattern around it. It is all on top of the Mendix platform and the Mendix technology. So we're able to solve the simple ones. Then you build already experience and knowledge on which you need for the bigger and the more complex ones. And of course, you need a little bit more to solve those, but the basic knowledge you need in the first place. So start small and grow into it. And if you're already experienced, then just the low hanging fruit you can pick and then get it continue, right? As well. So start low and then work yourself up.
I think the best tip that I could give a beginner hacker is don't trust your eyes, or at least don't trust your browser. It is very easy as a user or as a developer to think about the user experience, what is shown in the browser, and believing the artificial limits that you create in the browser experience. Ignore the browser and just look at web traffic. And if you look at just your access rights, you will see a lot more than happens to be rendered on your screen. And I know Mitchell already mentioned the CFIX tool, which is a nice way of visualizing a lot of the access that you have on data. So especially for the beginner challenges, absolutely use that, install it. Once you start advancing, it will not be enough to solve everything. It will help if you know things about the JavaScript APIs. It will help if you have your own proxy, like a burp or an OWASP zap. And if you've never used a proxy before, if you've never dealt with a JavaScript API before, make sure that you visit the first workshop where we will go through a few of the old challenges and we can showcase how you can go about solving them.
Yeah, like Dirk said, don't trust the boundaries of the browser, but also do read the challenges, the titles really well, and take a look at things that might seem too obvious. Sometimes we're hiding flags in plain sight. It's just around the corner. And if you don't look further because you think, well, this doesn't look like anything, that it doesn't smell like a flag at all, take a few steps further because they're definitely there. And sometimes easier to find than you expect. So don't think too difficult, especially the more experienced developers have a tendency, because I know this for myself, to think way too difficult, especially on challenges that might be simpler than you expect. We try to guide you over one path and not to have too many paths leading towards that final flag. And there are breadcrumbs along the way. So try to follow those and then solve it step by step. Just pick it like an onion.
Yeah, I think you should find a team that has a diverse set of skills. So try to attack things from different angles and find people who have, certain strengths. So focus on your own strength and then augment it with other people. And then it's divide and conquer, right? You can try and find the same challenge, or sometimes people divide it up, say, hey, you take that one, I'll take that one. And don't bump your head on one challenge too long. Take a break, take a little step back, walk around a little bit, and the answer might just come to you. Or if you want to resort to Mitchell's tactics, do some social engineering and bribe someone with swag or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Bring some stickers along that you can share.
Yeah, that's it.
And, with so many companies involved, obviously it's growing year by year, and, next year you'd want it to be even bigger than this year. That's the whole goal of these events. What makes, for companies who might be thinking to get involved and they didn't do it, right? For next year, what makes this collaboration so special?
Yeah, I think as attendees, I think you should absolutely send your developers there because it is free training and is really important to keep your team up to date. And I think in terms of organization, like the people we have here, it's a chance to show the world that you are an expert, that you have what it takes to work at this level. And if you want to host a satellite location, that's also going to show that country, that region, that you are an A player, and it will get your name out there. And we're not just accepting anyone, right? So we vet everyone to make sure that we are collaborating with the right organizations. And already this year, we now have 16 satellite locations, which is a lot more than we had intended, because this is the first year we're doing satellite locations. We were like, okay, maybe 10. Yeah. And then it was, a lot more. But companies see the benefit of it for the training, for the hosting, getting attention for recruitment as well, which is not unimportant. Yeah.
Actually, I have a question because I cannot actually answer this, but my experience as a CTF developer in Mendix, but also in other technologies, has taught me that making challenges deepens your understanding of security even more. Because you want to make something that is vulnerable, but not too vulnerable. So you have to get really into the nitty-gritty details about how does security work, what are the limits, what are the boundaries. And I know that when I make a challenge, I typically learn something new as well. I don't know if Mitchell and René have the same experience with the challenge that they make, but it's also a self-improvement.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
wholeheartedly agree, especially because while hacking primarily relied on tools like civics dev tools, etc. While building, I also try to look at it from the other angle, really going in the nitty-gritty of the client API, really trying to make sure that there is mostly one primary path and not leaving anything else open that might lead our participants the wrong direction, and then all of a sudden not finding a flag at all, even though there is some sort of vulnerability. We all remember last year's hack where all of a sudden with solving one challenge you had 3 flags. That kind of stuff you also need to prevent, because there is going to be a magnifying glass on your code, and you want to make sure that you only leave those doors open that you intended, instead of maybe also leaving that one window over at the toilet open.
Exactly. And being able to do that, then you really have to understand how it exactly works in its detail. So it enforces you to do it correctly wrong. That's also fun. That's another part of that. You learn a lot, but by doing it's fun on creating something wrong deliberately instead of and not collaboration itself. Actually, Mitchell and I, we know each other for 14 years now, as long as you were working with Mendix. But this year is the first time that we collaborate together on something. And that's also very nice to do so. A collaboration across companies. Every company has its own culture, has its own way of thinking. Blue-green, the expert partner, that's completely true. But there is a particular culture and communication inside the company, which I like, but that's different from what is inside Low Code Academy. What's different in the S unit and at Mendix. And by cross collaboration with companies, you mix it up. And that's, for me, that's a fun part of it. And it really enriches also the way how you look at things.
Yeah,
because
that's great.
Dirk, with his nerdy hacking skills, had a completely different angle on looking at stuff, and that enriches your own perspective.
Yeah, if I can add to that, I think it's also the fact that we are collaborating with all these different companies together and with 16 other organizations, I think is really special. And I think it's a testament to how strong the Mendix ecosystem is, and that people and companies are willing to collaborate. Yes, there's healthy competition when we're doing projects or doing deals, but we also know that we get better and we're stronger if we work together. And I think this is a prime example of that. I'm lucky to be in the middle of that, of all that collaboration, and just witnessing that. Yeah, it's a great experience.
And, Jan, when we, this is something like this takes a lot of planning, right? And, probably when one finishes, you're already ready, kind of looking at the next one. When we met in March, you were talking about it already, right? Ray was talking about it. For Mendix, and obviously the security aspect is there, the community aspect. But what, for you after the event, when you're sitting down, kind of reflecting on it, what do you hope all attendees have walked away with, and kind of, for you to say, okay, that was successful?
Yeah, for us, it is, well, how many people joined these workshops? So how many people really learned things? And we can see that by how many challenges they solve, how many workshops they attend. And afterwards, we see this. We know that we see it on LinkedIn. We see it when people say, like, in the week or the months after, like, I think I need to revise my application security. And you can hear this and people are excited. And then you see, well, the fallout or the effect of this is more events about security. We see more blogs, more videos. So it's top of mind. And you see that ripple effect happening. And for us, we just want to enable as many developers as possible. That's really the goal. And if that's what happened, then that's the success for us. And seeing more people also for the first time, of course, these satellite locations. When they're happy with how it went at their location, that they see it was a gamble joining this for the first time, but now we see that it was worth it. We had a great event. We had great feedback. Everyone enjoyed it. Everyone thought it was valuable. They can use the knowledge that they have right there the next day. Well, it's a Friday, but on Monday, when they get back, after they slept it off for a weekend, when they get back to their projects, they're thinking about it right away, and they're going to make positive change. So yeah, it's a long ripple effect. The first thing I'm going to do after the event ends is sleep for about a week, and then I will make the plan for next year. So preparations start almost a year before.
Yeah. Well. And, finally, for people who are not attending but still wish to join or get involved, is there a way for them to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can, of course, join us, but all the content that we create is also available afterwards. So we are recording all the sessions. We're posting those online. We're changing the website to show all the recordings and the winners afterwards. You can join Slack, our Mendix community Slack, where you can join the conversation. Even if you can't join, at least you know what's happening. Yeah, I'm sure other guys have more tips as well.
Yeah, and definitely follow follow the companies, the organizers, the people involved on social media as well. We will be posting, we will be sharing, we will be trying to bring over the vibe, at least in the Rotterdam office, but definitely also at the satellite host locations, what it's all about. And of course, like Jan said, there will be a ton of content coming out, not just from CTF directly itself, but also from MVPs and other content creators afterwards about this topic. And sometimes even folks that write out the solutions for challenges. Try not to do that too much, because we run out of potential challenges at some point, right? I mean, Dirk probably won't, because his challenges are insane. But especially for the entry level, you do want to have some sort of mystery around it and allow for future years to also have successful CTFs for everyone, not just the people that are face down, making sure that they are hacking even the magic ones.
Yeah, that's always a good balance that we have to strike. Like, do we give all the answers afterwards? Yes or no? On one hand, you want to give people as much knowledge as possible, but the knowledge and the learning also comes from the challenge of hacking itself. Like Dirk said before, just giving people the answers, it gives you the answer. It doesn't teach you how to find it, how to recognize it, how to solve it. So we will be sharing some solutions. So before the award ceremony on the second day, Dirk will also explain maybe 2 or 3 of the challenges. And that is always interesting. Always when he shows it, you hear the audience like, of course, I knew it.
It was right there. Yeah.
Those right around the corner things, right? So keep on trying, and don't think about it too difficultly.
Amazing. Well, no, thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a great Capture the Flag. And I'm sure, like last year, LinkedIn was popping with pictures and videos left, right, and center. So I'll be following, and I hope people listen to this, get value out of it, and if they haven't joined, decide to join. And I look forward to hearing how it went afterwards. So thank you all for joining me.
Thanks very much for your time.
Welcome.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank
again.
you. Yeah, again. Thanks, guys.